When the fear in my heart digs a little bit deeper, when my faith to stand gets a little bit weaker, where could I run to? Where could I go? Even when it feels like my world is shaking, even when I've had all that I can take, I know you never let me go. Whoa. And even when the waters won't stop rising, even when I'm caught in the dead of the night, I know no matter how it ends, you're with me even then. When the days up ahead look a little bit brighter, but the grip of the past holds a little bit tighter, I'm reminded your grace never asked for perfection. Oh, I'm restored because I'm yours and I stand forgiven. Yeah. Even when it feels like my world is shaking, even when I've had all that I can take, I know you never let me go. Whoa. And even when the waters won't stop rising, even when I'm caught in the dead of the night, I know no matter how it ends, you're with me even then. And even in the middle of the struggle, and even when it's hard to remember, you alone are my defense when I'm standing on your promises. And I know that even in the thick of the battle, and even through the valley of the shadows, you alone are my defense when I'm standing on your promises. So where could I run to? Where could I go? Even when it feels like my world is shaking, and I've had all that I can take, I know you never let me go. Whoa, whoa. And even when the waters won't stop rising, even when I'm caught in the dead of the night, I know no matter how it ends, you're with me even then. You're with me, yeah. No matter how it ends, you're with me even then.
I've been standing at the wall, waiting. I've been looking for a change lately. All the trouble, all the pain we're facing. Someone gotta be the hope, someone gotta be the light. Too much light to be living in the dark, but all we go that we ain't getting very far. Why waste time? We only got one life. Don't you know it starts today? Baby, no, it's not too late. It begins with you and I. Together we can be the change. So go and let your heart burn bright. What you can't
Hanging on for love, for you, you. I can't get enough of you, you. You're that love, and if you're that love, if you're that love, it's unconditional. Fill it up, go and fill it up. Fill it up with something spiritual. You know there's something in the water. Something in the water. Just something in the water. You got that flame getting hotter. Flame getting hotter. Flame getting hotter. Something in the water. Something in the water. You know there's something in the water, something in the water. There's something in the water, something in the water, something in the water, something in the water, something. I'm diving in deep into you, everything I need.
Fire number 2. Oh my gosh. Hey, my friends. Hey, you guys, I know you love that corner right there, but why don't you guys come over here? Come over here.
I don't think he asked you if you wanted to.
There's nobody over here, so I need you guys to come over here. Okay? Hey, if you're watching on Zoom, I'm glad that you're joining us tonight. So this is unfortunate, right? Come on. All right. Yeah, make sure. No, it's just when you guys are over there, it's just easier for whoever's teaching, Keith, tonight, to look at you guys over here. Okay? All right. So you guys are doing pretty good with the social distancing a little bit. Okay? Good job. Don't lean on each other. Actually, if you want to spread out a little bit and have 2 seats between you guys, that'd be great. That'd be even better. You're fine right there. You guys are awesome right there. Okay. All right. So I have a quick little game that we can play. Do you guys want to play a game? Okay. It's called Mandolin, DeLorean, or Mandalorian. Okay. So a blurred image is going to come up, and you guys are going to have a chance to guess if it's a mandolin, a DeLorean, or a Mandalorian. What's a DeLorean?
What?
Oh, my Lanta.
Have you not seen Back to the Future?
What? Okay, homework. Go home. Okay? No. Go to Netflix. Okay? Oh, my Lanta. Okay.
Go to Google. Go to
Just
Google.
Google Back to the Future. Okay? Google it. That's a DeLorean. The time machine's a DeLorean. Okay. All right. Let's okay. Hey, since there's not that many of you, if you think you know the answer, just throw up your hand real quick. Yes. Do you know what a Mandalorian is? Okay.
It's from Star Wars. I don't like
Oh.
your attitude.
Oh, my Lanta. Okay.
I don't like Star Wars, but I like the Mandalorian.
Hey, if you're watching on Zoom, put in the comments what you think it is. All right. Throw up that first. Now, the image is going to change every 10 seconds. In theory, it should. Abby. No. It is a Mandalorian. It's just guessing. I mean, it's just guessing. All right. Next image. Didi. DeLorean. That is a DeLorean. Good job. Yeah. All right. Next one. Abby. A mandolin? It is a mandolin. Okay. Good job. All right, next one. Hallie. Mandalorian? No. DeLorean? No. Obviously, there's only one choice left. That's a mandolin. That's a dude playing a mandolin. Playing the mandolin. Okay. All right. All right. Let's move on to the very last one, Michael. What? Mandalorian, no. DeLorean, no. It is not a mandolin either. It's actually all three of them. It's a Mandalorian in a DeLorean playing the mandolin. Okay. All right. All right. So, if you guys don't know what a DeLorean is, Google it. Okay. Google who invented the DeLorean. Okay. John DeLorean.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, John DeLorean. All right. Keith is going to teach tonight. All right. And then we'll go to small groups. Cool. Oh, yeah. I have a friend that owns a DeLorean. He's pretty cool. Real quick, couple of announcements. One, food pantry is on Monday. So if you want to come and help out, come help out with food pantry. Come here about 3-4 o'clock. They could really use your help. Yes, Elizabeth. It is, but you know what next Thursday is? Thanksgiving. Yeah. Okay. And then we'll see how the next couple weeks go and see if we just do everything on Zoom, and I don't know. We'll see what happens moving forward. All right. I know this sucks. It's terrible, but it is what it is, right? All right. Keith is going to teach.
Okay. Take your feet off the seats. Thanks. All right. Let's talk about. Yes. Good. I'm not using this thing. Sorry, people on Zoom. It's people on Zoom. Sorry. All right, so let's talk about being mad at someone. Let's talk about revenge. Let's talk about where we in this moment right now with COVID, with media, with social media, and the negative that everybody's putting out there. So let me ask you a question. First, with all of that, how do we start? Right? Who's mad at someone right now? Okay. Who's planning revenge for someone, for something someone did to you? Let's be honest. Okay. Who has had it with the negative attitudes and the negative things that are being said and done right now? So if you're mad or planning revenge, you're bringing negativity to the party. It's kind of hard to be tired of negativity if you're bringing it, just to put things in perspective. So let's talk about that. How do we change ourselves? How do we change the negativity? Whether it's online, in our families, in our circle of friends, there's never a shortage of people we love to hate. Am I right? Especially when we feel that there's a good reason for that hatred. When someone hurts us, it's tempting. Right? It's tempting to love to hate them, talking poorly about them, dehumanize them, or taking revenge on them. for everybody in here, not just for those of you who raised your hands, think for a minute when someone hurt you and you wanted revenge, right? Think how you responded and what you observed in that exchange. And so did you escalate it by saying something, becoming aggressive with them? And right now, thinking about it, do you wish you'd done something differently? It's complicated because when we're hurt, we want to stick up for ourselves. We want to hold people accountable, right? We don't think about grace or forgiveness or pretending like they never hurt us. We don't even let something go, even if it's minor sometimes. I know I don't. Last week we heard the story of David and King Saul, focusing mostly on Saul. This week we're going to look at the same story, but we're going to focus on David. In case you need a recap, right? Saul was the king of Israel. David had been chosen by God as the next king. Saul liked David at first, but he eventually became jealous of him. And because of his jealousy, Saul tried to kill David over and over and over again. He even rallied his troops to help him hunt down and kill David. That being said, if you were David, do you feel like you're justified to hate Saul? So let's find out what happened instead. I'm going to read from 1 Samuel 24, 1 through 7. When Saul returned from following the Philistines, he told, behold, David is in the wilderness. Then Saul took 3,000 chosen men out of all of Israel and went to seek David and his men in the front of wild goats, in front of the wild goat rocks. And then he came to the sheepfolds by the way where there was a cave. Saul went inside to relieve himself. Now David and his men were sitting in the innermost parts of the cave. Kind of coincidence. Saul goes in to go to the bathroom, and David and his men are hiding in this cave. Saul doesn't know that David and his men are in this cave. And the men of David said to him, here is the day of which the Lord said to you, behold, I will give you your enemy into your hand, and you shall do to him as it seemed good to you. Then David arose and stealthily cut off a corner of Saul's robe. And afterward, David's heart struck him because he cut off a corner of Saul's robe. His heart struck him. He felt bad. He immediately felt guilty for what he'd done. He said to his men, the Lord forbid that I should do this thing to my Lord, the Lord's anointed, to put out my hand against him, seeing he is the Lord's anointed. So David persuaded his men with these words, and they did not permit him to attack Saul. And Saul rose up and left the cave and went on his way. So as we look at that, it's kind of funny that Saul goes into the cave to use the restroom and David's in there. But David just cut off a corner of his robe. Who would feel guilty about that? Who would be remorseful of a guy that has been trying to kill you and you cut a corner of his robe off? You'd feel bad about that? Yes and no's, right? So David was a man after God's own heart. And it doesn't mean that because David felt bad about cutting the robe, that all of a sudden he liked Saul or wanted to hang out with him, thought everything was going to be okay, right? David showed love instead of hate by showing mercy to Saul instead of revenge. David and Saul didn't ever reconcile. The best they could do was promise to stay away from each other. And they did for the rest of their lives and never saw each other again. So if you're honest, if we're honest, and you listen to the Saul and the David story, giving love instead of hatred, are we saying, okay, Keith, you don't understand. You don't understand me. You don't understand where I've been. You don't understand the hurt that I've been through. You don't understand what's really taking place in my life. I'm not David, and I'm not any character or person in the Bible. I can't be like them. If we're honest, how many of us feel that way when we sit back here and listen to John and I teach to you about the people in the Bible? You're right. I know I'm no different than you are. And some days I want to stop trying. Because it seems like I'm the only one who is. It seems like there's days that I'm the only one that's trying to do what's right. But that's not the case at all. I convince myself of that because of all the negative that exists in our world. And I realize that I'm destroying myself with my anger, with my frustration, with me being self-centered and focusing on me thinking that I'm the only one that's trying to be good. So there's a saying I use when you're mad at somebody, when you want revenge on somebody. It is, when you're that way, it's like you drinking the poison and waiting for them to die. Pretty silly, but it's true. Because that's how we think. We think if I'm mad enough at this person, or if I love to hate them, it's going to be better. It makes me feel better, but it's not. So David had every right to do more than he did. But he felt guilty about cutting a corner of the man's robe off. So we need to understand things when it comes to our frustrations and anger towards people, right? This was a different time and a different culture, right? This story is about two powerful men and not about people like you and I. We don't rule countries. We don't command armies. And you guys are just teenagers, right? So let's talk about things. Let's clarify some things. The moral of this story is not to be nice to someone who is abusive or dangerous. The moral of the story is to not ask for help when you're in danger. To not seek justice when someone's harmed you. So God doesn't tell us to put ourselves in harm's way or to endure violence or abuse. God loves you, and He's put people in your life to help you with that. So if that's where you find yourself, let's talk about that. But to move on, if that's not the lesson, then what is? What should we take away from the story of David and Saul? And we should look at what Jesus does as we fast forward. We read out of Matthew 5:38-45. You have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say to you, do not resist the one who is evil. But if anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to him the other also. And if anyone would sue you and take your tunic, let him have your cloak as well. And if anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with him 2. Give to the one who begs from you, and do not refuse to the one who would borrow from you. Love your enemies. You have heard that it was said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, so that you may be sons of your Father who is in heaven. For he makes the sun rise on the evil and the good, and he sends the rain on the just and the unjust. So here, Jesus changes things. The words of Jesus are wisdom about love and hate. Instead of telling his audience, those who love them and those who hate them, Jesus challenged them and us to try something new, to love our enemies. Although David lived many years before Jesus, David understood what God would want him to do. He did not want him to return Saul's hatred with more hatred. His decision to show Saul love instead of vengeance points to Jesus. Love the people we want to hate. So let's dig into turn the other cheek for a minute. What does that mean? Does that mean literally let somebody slap the other cheek? What does it mean? One time?
Yeah,
Take that off, I can't hear you. Just for a minute.
it means that somebody slaps you, turn the other cheek, defend yourself, but do not get back. Let yourself be hit, but do not try to hurt them.
Okay, maybe. A little deeper than that, because it's often misunderstood. What are you going to say? Tell me. Okay, never repay evil with evil. Okay? So, when Jesus said this, he didn't mean never stand up for yourself or others, or to let people walk all over you. Because Jesus had no problem verbally defending himself, right? And Jesus often got angry at people who were cruel and hurtful, right? But Jesus never sought revenge or was cruel to others or escalated conflict because his pride was wounded. Here's what I think Jesus did mean. He said, turn the other cheek when someone attacks you, hurts or lashes out to you. Don't be overcome by anger. Don't plot your revenge. Don't escalate the situation. And don't react without thinking. Respond wisely instead. Many people think of Jesus many people think of Jesus only as a kind, gentle, peace-loving man. But he was a revolutionary. Jesus upset both religious and political leaders of his day. They all wanted him dead. Jesus' enemies would often provoke him and trap him so that they would have an excuse to arrest him. Jesus knew better, just like you know better. When you see conflict coming, you're aware of it. You know better than to react, to escalate the situation. Jesus used the power of love over hate and of self-control instead of revenge. When we react in anger or seek revenge, we escalate conflicts. So I don't feel so lonely. Who else is guilty of escalating a conflict? Oh, good. It's hard, super hard. Because sometimes our emotions take over, and before we know it, our mouth runs off. And this is where wisdom comes in. Wisdom is that filter that catches that word right before it hits the end of your tongue. And I know each and every one of you love people. I see it every day in here. So I know you don't act out of hate. You're acting out of pure emotion. So when Jesus said, turn the other cheek, he wasn't telling us just get over it, right? He wasn't telling us to strategically choose who to love instead of hatred, because love changes things. It truly does. Praying for your enemies. Who's prayed for their enemies? I have. I distinctly remember doing it. And it was the weirdest thing I've ever done. But when it was over with, I felt good. It was a moment that I felt unbelievably close to God in my walk. I often think back to that moment when things get hard, when I get frustrated, or when I get overwhelmed by emotion, to bring me back to that moment when I was close to God. So let's think about for a minute when we're talking about praying for our enemies. Who are you tempted to hate? Who have you hurt? How can you stop the back and forth? And how can you strategically choose love? There's one common word in that. What is it? There's one word in every one of those that I read. It's the same. Let me read them again. Who are you tempted to hate? Who have you hurt? How can you stop the back and forth? Tell me. You. Who can you control? Yourself. So how do you think it'll make you feel that if you accept responsibility, you use love and control how you respond when someone brings negativity to you? Do you bring negativity to the party? Or do you control you? Because the world needs that really, really bad right now. The world needs us to model a new way forward, right? A way of love and not hate. It's not going to be easy, but there's no value in easy, right? Because you guys don't come to youth and brag that you tied your shoes, right? Nobody cares about that. That was cool when you were 6, not now, right? Nobody's bragging about that. Why? Because it's easy. No value in easy, okay? We have to take the hard road sometimes because change can start with us. We can change the way the world reacts. When we don't react we're going to inspire others not to react. Right? And forgiveness isn't something we do for the person who hurt us. Let me say that again. Forgiveness isn't something we do for the person who hurt us. Why? Because holding a grudge is like what? Well, you guys got to start paying attention. Drinking poison, right? And waiting for them to die. So forgiveness isn't something we do for the person who hurt us. It's something we do for ourselves and God. Whether we've been asked for our forgiveness or not, we can choose to let go of the bitterness towards people who have hurt us. And even if you're not fully ready to forgive that person today, forgiveness is a journey. Believe me. It doesn't happen overnight, so don't think that it should. But we do it for ourselves and for God. So we've talked a lot about what to do when we've been hurt. But don't forget that other people are being hurt all the time. You might notice someone being bullied at school, or you might begin to explore deep and systematic problems like injustice, racism, or inequality. If you were David being hunted by the king, where you would have wanted someone to defend you, right? We can do that for others. I think the most important thing is that we not give up on prayer. The things we talk about today, they're hard. And I know we're not people from the Bible, but those people are no different than we are. David had his faults, but yet still called a man after God's own heart. It's hard to hate someone that you're consistently praying for. That's pretty big. That's a big statement, kind of profound. So if you are mad at someone or loving to hate someone right now, they should be the first person that you pray for. Hold on. No, they should be the first person you pray for, the person you're hating. Pray for them. If you don't know what to pray for them, pray for what you want for yourself. God to be with you, His peace, His wisdom, His guidance. Just pray for them. Because it's hard to hate someone you're consistently praying for. That being said, pray with me. Dear Father God, we thank you for today. We thank you for the people who are with us on Zoom and in here. And God, we ask that you soften hearts, or that you give the words for those who are in need of words to pray for those that they're hating right now. We ask for peace and love in this world, Lord, and just everybody just to breathe and love one another. And we ask all of this in your Son's name. Amen.
Hey, before you go real quick, a couple of things. 6th grade girls, you're going to meet in the large classroom, okay? 7th and 8th grade girls, you're going to be with Morgan, meeting in the gathering area, okay? All right, cool. 8th grade boys, you're still in my office. Hey, those of you on Zoom, give us a few minutes and we'll break you guys out in using the breakout room feature into your small groups, okay?